What up, reader fam? Today I'm going to be sharing my thoughts, opinions, and feels on WAPA, A Short History of the Girl Next Door by Jared Reck. This is actually the Booksplosion book of the month for the month of October, and this month we are working with Penguin Random House. I'm not sure when our live show date is going to be, but when I find out what that date is going to be, I will leave that information down in the description, and if it's past that time, then I will leave a link down below to our live show discussion for this book. This story follows this friendship between this guy named Matt and this girl named Tabby. The two grew up together, and basically Matt's family helped raise Tabby. Matt has developed these romantic feelings for Tabby, but before Matt is able to reveal those feelings, Tabby ends up in a relationship with one of the star basketball senior players. And that's when there's a little bit of a shift in their friendship. A tragic event ends up happening in Matt's life, and this is where everything in the story completely changes. I know that kind of sounds like a really cliche story description, but it was written so well that didn't even bother me. That's the thing, you can read a story that's been done before, but if the writing's weak, it can be a miss. But for this one, the writing was excellent, making it a big ol' hit in my eyes. I was just so pleasantly surprised by this book. You never know how a debut book's going to be. This is Jared Reck's first book that he's ever released. I always get kind of nervous going into debut books because you just don't know how they're going to turn out. You just don't know if the writing's going to be weak or if they're going to execute the storyline well. But holy cannoli, this one hit all the points for me. Also, this book just had me a complete mess. It wrecked me. And I really wasn't expecting that to happen going into this book. I knew that there was obviously this big tragic thing that happens, and I also predicted this big tragic event that happened before it actually happened in the book, but it was the way that it was written that completely caught me off guard. And the way that the characters handled it just had me so emotional. There were so many things in this book that I loved. We have this focus on friendship between Tabby and Matt, and it kind of breaks down that line of friendship versus romantic relationship, and I'm honestly trash for stories where a guy and a girl are friends, and then it kind of develops into something more. This one definitely felt more one-sided to me though. It definitely felt like Matt liked Tabby more than she liked him. The family aspect in this book was on point. I love when a family is present in a YA story, and I feel like that's something that I've been seeing more and more in YA recently, which makes me really happy. Mostly because I've read YA books where the families were just completely written out of the story, or they just let their kids do whatever the heck they want and they don't even check up on them. And this family was just a very close-knit family, and they really come together in this time of hardship that they go through. I feel like out of everybody in the family, the hardship really hits Matt the hardest, and I feel like the family did a really great job of just like allowing him his space to feel the way that he feels, but also making sure to be present during this time. Even the grandparents were heavily involved in the story, and that made me so happy. I loved seeing that relationship between the grandparents and their grandson Matt. I even liked the basketball element in this story, which if you know me, you know I'm not like huge on sports. Like I'm down to play some basketball and some soccer, but when it comes to like watching sports, I'm not a huge fan, not gonna lie. I'm sorry, but also not sorry because it's just not my thing. But I was here for the basketball court in this story. I was there cheering for Matt and his friend Trip when they were playing basketball. It was also really nice to see our main character Matt, who is kind of a little bit of a jock. Like he doesn't act like a jock, but he's definitely like a basketball player and he loves playing basketball. But it was nice to see that he also kind of had a softer side, and it was nice to see him be passionate about something else. In this story, he also really enjoys poetry. I feel like a lot of the jocks that we see in fiction are very one-sided. We only see that jock side of them, that kind of douchey side of them, or that side of them where they're only focused on basketball or whatever sport they're involved in. But this gave more depth and personality to our main character, and I really liked seeing that. As for the characters, I'm only going to talk about our main character Matt. I loved his character so much. He's completely 100% flawed. There's even some things that he said where I was like, bro, you better check yourself before you wreck yourself. Specifically, there were a few like misogynistic moments in this story, but it's not something that just happened and just was brushed over and the story kept going. Like the author has the character address it and then correct it. So bravo, author, bravo. There was also this part of Matt that I really related to, and that's how Matt kind of plays out these situations in his head and how he wishes they would go. Like he would go through this situation and he wouldn't handle it very well, and then he would like look back on that situation and be like, if I would have handled it in this way, in this very confident way, this is what it would have looked like. And I'm that same way. I do that so often where I'll just have a situation happen and I'll be like, why didn't I do this? Why didn't I do that? Why didn't I say this? I play out those scenarios over and over and over in my mind. I feel like the author did a fantastic job of portraying the emotions of this tragic event that happened with our main character Matt, and he handled it in a way that I haven't seen be done in a lot of books, because I feel like a lot of the characters that I've read about who have gone through similar situations that Matt went through in this book, they kind of just like brush it off and just like let it slide, and they like overcome it. And while Matt does overcome it, he also goes through this really terrible season in his life where he's just angsty and he hates the world. It's not like he was just over it right away. Like, he really went through this hard time. So those are all my thoughts, opinions, and feels on A Short History of the Girl Next Door by Jared Reck. I ended up giving this book a 5 out of 5 stars. I was not expecting this to end up being one of my favorite books going into it, but I came out of it being like, holy crap, I really love this book. So this has been added to my list of favorite books. You guys should let me know down below if you have read this book and what you thought of it. I'd love to hear all your feelings. Also, let me know down below if you haven't read this book, but if you plan to pick it up. If you like this video, be sure to give it a big thumbs up. I post videos frequently on this channel, so if you want to be notified as to when I post new videos, be sure to go and hit subscribe, or go and click the little bell icon and you'll be notified as to when I post new videos. Thanks for watching, guys, and I will see you soon with a new video. Bye, chew.